Hello and welcome back to the channel. We are in our 2008 Prius. That's good. This is the in-town car. My wife and daughter are off checking out a new swimming place that's a little out of town, so they decided to take the Model Y to do the longer trip, so we're not burning as much gas. So that's all good. I had a different video about the Model Y planned for this week, and things kind of fell through. I'll get to that in another video, but I wanted to touch base and talk about a couple things from Investor Day and take a look at what's happening in the neighborhood. I'm just in a, oh, there's a turkey right there. We have gaggles of turkeys or harems of turkeys that just kind of roam the city, and there's a whole bunch right here. Unfortunately, I don't have a camera that can point at them. But Tesla just had their Investor Day, and there are mixed feelings about how exciting that was or how not exciting that was. It all depends on your perspective. I worked in corporate events for many years, and to me that was just a good corporate event. But if you aren't used to that kind of thing, I can see how you would think it was pretty boring. But something that always seems to come up whenever the Cybertruck is shown, and I don't have a reservation or really any need to buy one, but something that always comes up is no one's going to want that because it'll never fit in a garage. And so I just wanted to drive through a couple neighborhoods here in a suburb of Minnesota and see where people are parking their pickups. Maybe do a little count. So here right on the corner we have a Ram 1500. That's one in the driveway. That's a Silverado, that's two. There's a Ram and another Silverado. That's 3, 4. I didn't check out this neighborhood beforehand. I'm just counting. There's 5. Another Ram, that's 6. One parked on the street down there, that's 7. 8. Another Ram over there. 9. Another Ram. Couple cargo vans over there. 10, a Ridgeline. I'm not counting the cargo vans or the bigger SUVs like the Escalades, but that size vehicle were also in the park or in the driveways. 12 as we pass there. 13. And this is more apartment style stuff, so we'll cut this. 14 down that street. 15, we've got a Silverado. 16, another Silverado. 17, the Chevy. 18. 19, it looks like a couple Tacomas over there. 20, Tacoma. 21. And now I'm kind of in a road between neighborhoods, but that was 21 at least pickup trucks parked in driveways, and that's just what most people do. I know 3 or 4 of my neighbors have trucks, like my immediate neighbors have trucks, and they're always in their driveways. So the concern that the Cybertruck isn't going to fit in a parking lot or isn't going to fit in a garage isn't a concern for most people who are typical truck drivers. Now maybe if you're new to a truck and used to parking your car in your garage, that's going to seem foreign to you, but to most truck drivers it's really not an issue. 22, another Silverado. Now probably didn't pick up on camera, but somebody does have a Ford Ranger in their garage. But especially, in this area, a lot of the houses were built in the 60s and 70s, and they just, the garages just aren't that big. And I'll do another look as I'm driving around my hometown later this afternoon. That's a small town in Minnesota with probably even a higher density of truck owners. Okay, we're back in my hometown, small town Minnesota, and just want to take a look at the trucks and driveways here. There's one Silverado. There's another GMC Sierra. There's a Ford F-150 over there. And another Ram down the road. Another Silverado here. Looks like a work truck. Another Colorado. Who knew there were so many autos? This looks like a Silverado. Another outdoor pickup there. Another work truck. And this is in the middle of the day, so a lot of people who that's their only vehicle or whatever would be out driving around. So this many just sitting around in the middle of the day gives you an idea of how many are out there. There's a GMC Sierra, Ford F-150, and another Silverado right over there. I'm not counting, sorry. It's a lot. Another Chevy, maybe? Another Ford F-150. There's a GMC down there and a F-150. And this isn't even the deep country. This is in town. Small town, but in town. Silverado, Sierra. And we've got Silverado and Dodge. Ram 1500. So the F-150 back there. There's something back over there. There's a Ram 2500 here. Ford F-150. Ram 1500. So you can see down here it's even more dense, but most of them are outside. We've got a Ram 1500, Silverado, another Ram. The next thing I want to touch on is the superchargers opening up, and we've seen mostly success on that front, although there are some slow speeds. Kyle Connor did a really good video on why some of the faster charging EVs don't charge quickly on the current superchargers. But that's kind of on the car side. My friend Steve from Plug and Play EV has an Ioniq 5 and hasn't been able to charge on a supercharger yet. So I don't know if that's an issue with the car or something with Tesla's communication. So far, that's the only vehicle I've heard of having an issue being able to charge, and he's going to test out. Some other people gave him some things to try. I don't know if he's got to spin around 3 times or hop up and down on one leg while touching his nose to make it work, or maybe it's just they need to tweak the software either in the car or in the on the Tesla side. But new superchargers are being put out all the time. Hopefully the Magic Dock expansion rolls out even faster once they get some tests under their belts. But I think that's going to be a retrofit for version 3 superchargers, is what that's looking like now. And then version 4, which the first one of those is being installed right now in Europe. And that's exciting to see. It's got longer cables, which is the major complaint people are having right now is, well, sure, they opened them up, but these cables are so short we can't charge on them, or it's not easy. Hopefully V4 straightens that out. And so we're near one of my usual testing grounds for FSD. And I want to just take a look because there's supposed to be a supercharger being installed in the next quarter or so right here in Eagan, Minnesota. So I want to see if any hardware started to appear here. I'm guessing these will be V3 because the permitting process has already gone through, and I don't think V4s have been permitted, at least here in Minnesota with the new stations at this point. So I don't know if these will be V3s with the Magic Dock, potentially. That will be interesting to see. But even if they're just for Tesla owners, that'll take strain off other stations for the people who don't live around here or live in apartments around here and can't charge at home. But there are new supercharger locations opening up all the time, and it'll be kind of fun to be able to drive past this one as construction starts. It's early March right now, and we have had a handful of snowstorms lately, so I could understand if they're holding off on sending hardware here yet but it's kind of fun every week or two to drive by and just see if anything's started. Yeah, and those new superchargers are going to be right here in this end of the Cub Food parking lot. So clearly no equipment here yet. And one final thought is the rollout of version 11 of FSD is supposedly coming soon. Might be held up a little bit on regulatory items if they're folding that all into the next version. But that will be interesting to see. And I'm a big proponent of testing FSD and, trying to make the roads safer. Ford just opened up a new center, a new, business unit for developing hands-free and eyes-off driving on the interstates, making that safer and a more robust software. Who knows how that will expand? And Mercedes, I did a video with Ellie a few weeks ago about Mercedes opening up their level 3 system for vehicles on mapped highways going under 40 miles an hour in traffic. But they're starting to roll out their system, so that's all good. And then you get people really hyped up about who's ahead, who's behind. Waymo and Cruise are actually have driverless vehicles deployed in certain mapped constrained areas, and so they're ahead. They're taking that approach and they're ahead in that area. I think it's good to take a lot of approaches, see who ends up winning or doing the best, or if nothing else, just adding to that safety level on the roads over time. So I'm all for everybody doing what they think is right, and then we'll see what works best, what comes out in the wash. But something that gets lost, I think, a little bit when talking about how FSD is still level 2, which it is, as it's categorized, because you still have to be engaged and paying attention. But when I come to a parking lot this or a much more crowded one, I'm always struck by the thought that the Model Y has the potential to get me home without an intervention. And you look at all the other cars in these parking lots, and even if they have some form of driver assist, highway assist, lane keeping, something, none of the other systems out there that a person can buy have that potential. Now, do I still occasionally have to take over? Yes. Is it perfect? No. But out of all the vehicles in a parking lot, there's only one or two that have the potential to actually drive you home without an intervention. And those are Teslas right now. So interesting, but like I said, I'm all for everybody trying to tackle this problem in the way they see fit, the way they see is safest, and then we'll kind of see what happens over the next 5 years to hopefully bring traffic accidents, injuries, and death rates down for everybody. And that's just going to be a good, whoever solves it. So obviously I'm in the Tesla camp testing that, trying to push that forward, but I don't care if they're first or fastest to make it work. I just want to see that happen. And one final note on the Prius. This is a 2008 and we've got 226,394 miles on it, and in the last few years we haven't been driving it a ton, but this is our backup in-town car. And when we bought it in 2008, we got it used, and the big debate at that time was, oh man, a hybrid. What do you do if the battery goes out and you have to replace it? Well, the only part in this car that hasn't needed attention has been the battery system. All of the combustion engine parts, well, not all of them have been replaced, but we've done the fuel filters, we've done the belts, we've done the oil changes, we've done the exhaust system. All of that stuff has had work done to it or been replaced over the years, and that's fine over the life of this vehicle. But the big concern was the battery, and that's kind of what gave us confidence to move to a full EV, is there's no maintenance on that part of it. And part of the reason for buying it was to use less gas and potentially eventually save some money. And the comments we got from people when we talked about that was, well, the car was more expensive, so you're going to have to own it for like 10 years to make that even break even for the amount extra we had to pay for it. Maybe that's true, but we've now owned it for 15 years. So if you hang on to these vehicles, you can come out ahead. And I think definitely we have. This is in a little bit of rough shape at this age and the hard life it's had, but it's still functioning and doing well for us. When it dies, we'll be an all EV family, but until then, we're going to get the most out of this thing we can. Try to come up even more on the plus side of owning this over a full gas vehicle. And for those wondering, our current miles per gallon in the Prius is 36.9, so basically 37 miles per gallon. And that's, coming toward the end of winter, so that will go up in the summer a little bit. It's still getting great gas mileage. I doubt there are a lot of other 15-year-old cars on the road, other than hybrids, that are getting this kind of mileage. So cool to see that. But again, when this passes on, we're going to be moving to all electric. And that'll be the question of, do we get a short-range all-electric vehicle for in-town driving, like an old Leaf or something like that? Or do we go with something like a used Bolt that is able to charge on CCFs? So if the supercharger network is open with Magic Docks or V4s to CCS drivers, will we be able to, in a pinch, use that vehicle for road tripping as well, or longer distance travel? With Tesla adding CCS to superchargers, it does start to make CHAdeMO vehicles even a little less viable than they were already. So obviously you can charge at the places that are already offering it, but I don't see that expanding. So our secondary EV would either be another Tesla, if we could find like an old S at a good price, or something like an old Bolt that's got CCS capability. So the Magic Dock may change the market a little bit and what people are willing to pay for different used vehicles. So that'll be interesting to see how that evolves as well. Let me know if you have any of the new EV trucks, if you have one on order, where you park it, does it fit in your garage? Let me know what you think about the future of full self-driving with Ford's new news, or the expansion of Tesla's supercharger network and opening up the Magic Dock, and any experiences or thoughts you have about that. This week has been kind of a potpourri episode, but I wanted to get those thoughts out and share them with you. In the coming weeks, I've got another trip out to a new supercharger, and I want to take a look with Tesla's version of the future, the vision of the future with Master Plan Part 3, and take a look at what that means for smaller towns and communities, and maybe what a good game plan for building that infrastructure of the future will look like. And so I'm going to take a look at my hometown and see what kind of infrastructure would fit best and where it should be placed around town to be the best benefit at the lowest cost and the most utility to citizens living there. So hope you look forward to that one as well. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next one.